In a remarkable development that has sent waves across the UFO research community, another clear photograph of a jellyfish-shaped UFO has been released by an anonymous whistleblower. This new image shows the mysterious craft hovering above a military base in the Middle East, sparking renewed speculation about advanced involvement and government secrecy. Described as one of the clearest and most detailed UFO photos ever captured, this release has reignited the global conversation about unidentified aerial phenomena, raising important questions about what might be happening behind closed doors at military installations around the world. The photograph, which surfaced on encrypted online forums frequented by whistleblowers, shows a jellyfish-shaped UFO floating silently in the sky above a military base. The object has a dome-shaped head with tentacle-like structures hanging below it. What makes this image so compelling is the sheer clarity of the photograph. Unlike many UFO sightings that are plagued by blurry or distorted images, this photograph is sharp, with clearly defined edges and no signs of digital manipulation. The jellyfish-like object is vividly depicted, giving researchers and skeptics alike a rare opportunity to analyze the phenomenon in detail. The whistleblower, who remains anonymous, claims that the photograph was taken by military personnel stationed at the base. According to their account, the jellyfish-shaped craft was seen hovering above the base for several minutes, moving slowly and silently before disappearing into the sky. The source also indicated that this was not the first time such a sighting had occurred at the base, hinting at a potential pattern of UFO activity in the region. While this photo is new, reports of jellyfish-shaped UFOs have been steadily growing over the past several decades. These sightings are characterized by their distinctive shape, which resembles the aquatic creature after which they are named. Typically, the UFOs are described as having a domed or bell-shaped body with glowing, tendril-like extensions. They are often seen hovering silently in the sky, and witnesses frequently describe their movements as graceful or fluid, as if they are floating rather than flying. What makes the jellyfish-shaped UFO unique is not only its appearance, but also the tentacles that hang from its lower body. Some UFO researchers speculate that these tentacles may serve a functional purpose, possibly related to propulsion, energy collection, or communication. Others have suggested that the jellyfish-like design might indicate that these objects are biological in nature, potentially representing living organisms from another world. While jellyfish UFO sightings have been reported in various parts of the world, this most recent photo is particularly significant due to its military context. Military personnel, often bound by strict security protocols, are typically reluctant to come forward with UFO sightings. However, as more whistleblowers release information and photographs like this one, the pressure on governments to address the phenomenon is mounting. The sighting of a jellyfish-shaped UFO over a military base in the Middle East adds a new layer of complexity to the ongoing conversation about UFOs and government secrecy. Military installations around the world have long been hotspots for UFO sightings, with numerous reports of unidentified objects being spotted near sensitive military infrastructure, including nuclear facilities, missile silos, and aircraft carriers. These sightings have often been accompanied by unusual radar signatures and sudden, inexplicable equipment malfunctions, leading many to wonder whether UFOs are conducting surveillance of these military assets. In the case of the Middle Eastern military base, the whistleblower suggested that the object hovered over a restricted area of the base, raising concerns about security and potential threats to sensitive operations. While there has been no official response from the government or military involved, the presence of a jellyfish-shaped UFO in such a high-security zone could point to an intelligence-gathering operation by an unknown entity. It is also worth noting that this is not the first time military personnel have encountered UFOs in the Middle East. In recent years, there have been several reports of UFO sightings near US and Allied bases in the region, leading some to speculate that these sightings are related to advanced technology being developed by foreign powers. However, the unique characteristics of the jellyfish-shaped UFO, its glowing, ethereal appearance and silent movement, seem to rule out any known human-made craft. The release of this photo by a whistleblower adds to a growing trend of military and government insiders coming forward with information about UFO encounters. In the past, those who witnessed UFOs while on duty were often discouraged, or even explicitly forbidden, from speaking about what they had seen. Military personnel frequently faced ridicule or career consequences if they disclosed their experiences, which led many to remain silent. However, in recent years, a cultural shift has begun to take place. As governments, including the United States, have acknowledged the reality of UAPs through official channels, more whistleblowers are finding the courage to share their stories. These individuals are playing a critical role in challenging the status quo, providing hard evidence, such as this latest photograph, that forces both the public and government officials to take the UFO phenomenon seriously. The recent surge in whistleblower disclosures, combined with growing public interest in UFOs, has led to calls for increased transparency from governments and military organizations. Many believe that governments around the world possess far more knowledge about UFOs than they have publicly admitted, and that the suppression of this information has stifled both scientific inquiry and public awareness. The release of this clear photograph of a jellyfish-shaped UFO hovering above a military base in the Middle East could have significant implications for the future of UFO research. As more whistleblowers come forward and more evidence emerges, governments will face increasing pressure to address the phenomenon openly and honestly. This latest photo raises questions not only about the existence of UFOs, but also about their potential purpose. As the recent whistleblower photo of a jellyfish-shaped UFO hovering over a military base in the Middle East circulates across the internet, a new wave of testimonies from soldiers and former military personnel has emerged. Many of these individuals, who had previously remained silent due to fears of career repercussions or ridicule, are now coming forward with their own accounts of witnessing similar jellyfish-shaped UFOs above military installations, deserts, and restricted airspaces in the Middle East. These new testimonies add weight to the theory that UFOs are not isolated phenomena, but recurring, possibly deliberate encounters in areas of strategic military importance. Among those who have recently come forward is a former US Army soldier who served at a base in the Persian Gulf during the early 2000s. In a recent interview, he detailed a night patrol incident where he and several other soldiers witnessed a glowing, jellyfish-shaped object floating silently above the desert near their base. According to his account, the object hovered at a relatively low altitude for several minutes before ascending rapidly into the night sky. The soldier recalled how the object emitted a faint hum, but aside from that, it was eerily quiet, moving with fluidity that didn't match any known aircraft. This soldier, like many others, was told not to discuss the event. After reporting the sighting to a superior officer, he was given a direct order to forget what he had seen and not to mention it again. Similar testimonies have come from other soldiers and airmen who served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other conflict zones in the Middle East. A former Royal Air Force technician who served in Afghanistan in the early 2010s shared an account of witnessing a jellyfish-shaped object while stationed at Kandahar airfield. He described the object as massive, with a translucent dome and tentacle-like beams of light trailing underneath. According to his report, the object was spotted on radar, but when scrambled fighter jets approached, it ascended rapidly and disappeared from view. The growing number of testimonies from military personnel suggests that the sighting of jellyfish-shaped UFOs in the Middle East is not a one-off phenomenon. Instead, there appears to be a recurring pattern of encounters in this region, particularly near military installations and restricted airspaces. The whistleblower photograph of the jellyfish UFO hovering above a military base is only the latest in a series of incidents that suggest an ongoing presence of unidentified aerial phenomena in conflict zones. The Middle East has long been a region of geopolitical tension and military activity, which raises questions about why these UFOs are so frequently sighted there. Some UFO researchers believe that the region's strategic importance, particularly due to its concentration of military bases, oil fields, and advanced technological assets, may be drawing the attention of these mysterious objects. In many cases, the sightings of jellyfish-shaped UFOs have coincided with unusual activity on military bases. Soldiers have reported strange power outages, equipment malfunctions, and unexplained radar anomalies occurring at the same time as UFO sightings. In one instance, a military contractor working at an airbase in Iraq described how a glowing object similar to a jellyfish appeared above the base just before several drone systems malfunctioned, losing communication with their operators. These reports are difficult to dismiss particularly because they come from trained professionals with experience in identifying aircraft, drones, and other technological systems. The consistency of these sightings, combined with the fact that they often occur in highly secured military zones, lends credibility to the notion that something unexplained is happening in the skies above the Middle East. Despite the increasing number of testimonies, governments around the world, including the United States and its allies in the Middle East, have remained largely silent on the subject of UFOs, particularly in conflict zones. While the Pentagon has recently acknowledged the existence of UAPs and released several videos showing military encounters with unidentified objects, the full extent of these encounters has not been made public. Many whistleblowers and former military personnel believe that the government is withholding key information about these phenomena, including the jellyfish-shaped UFOs. Some former military officials suggest that governments may be deliberately downplaying UFO sightings in sensitive regions to avoid public panic or to protect classified military operations. Others speculate that the sightings could be related to advanced technologies developed by foreign adversaries, though this theory seems unlikely given the otherworldly nature of the jellyfish UFOs and their ability to evade detection and interception. For those who have witnessed these strange objects, the lack of official acknowledgement has been frustrating. Several former soldiers who have come forward about their sightings express a desire for more transparency from the government and military. They believe that the public has a right to know about these phenomena, particularly given their potential implications for national security. Reports of UFOs appearing in conflict zones are not a new phenomenon. Some of the earliest modern accounts of UFO sightings in war come from World War II, when Allied pilots reported seeing strange glowing objects that became known as Foo Fighters. These bright orbs followed military aircraft during combat missions, performing maneuvers that defied the capabilities of any known aircraft at the time. Initially thought to be secret German technology, the Foo Fighters remained unexplained and eventually became one of the earliest documented cases of UFOs interacting with military forces during wartime. During the Vietnam War, numerous American soldiers and pilots reported seeing UFOs while on combat missions. These sightings ranged from fast-moving lights to larger craft that appeared to hover silently above the dense jungles of Southeast Asia. In one well-known case, US pilots reported encountering a large, saucer-shaped object that briefly pursued their aircraft before vanishing at high speeds. Like many UFO sightings in conflict zones, these reports were often dismissed or went unreported out of fear of ridicule or disciplinary action. Fast forward to the Gulf War in the early 1990s, where UFO sightings again surfaced. As mentioned, soldiers deployed in the deserts of Kuwait and Iraq described seeing mysterious lights and craft hovering over military installations and active battlefields. Some reports even claimed that these objects appeared to be monitoring the combat, staying just out of range of radar systems or fighter jets sent to investigate. The eerie presence of these UFOs in such a high-stakes environment led to speculation that they were observing humanity's capacity for warfare, or perhaps even gathering intelligence on military technology. The modern Middle East has been a hotbed of UFO sightings, particularly in conflict zones such as Iraq and Afghanistan, where US and allied forces have been engaged in military operations for decades. Soldiers stationed in these regions have reported numerous instances of unexplained objects appearing in the skies above active war zones, often during or immediately after combat operations.